Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we break down the legal jargon so you don't have to. Today, we're diving into the wild world of non-judicial foreclosures, promissory notes, and why the Supreme Court might have dropped the ball on this one. Oh, and don't worry, I'll sprinkle in some laughs because, let's be real, if we're talking about foreclosure, we need all the humor we can get. Alright, let's start with the Supreme Court. In 2019 they said, hey, if you're a bank or a trustee doing non-judicial foreclosures, you're generally exempt from the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, FDCPA. Generally exempt. Did you catch that? Generally. That's like saying, I'm generally a good driver, except for when I'm not. But here's the kicker. The court didn't consider that promissory notes are actually securities under federal law. Yeah, that's right. Your mortgage note isn't just a piece of paper, it's a security, like stocks or bonds. And guess what? You can't foreclose on a security using non-judicial proceedings. It's like trying to use a spoon to cut steak. It just doesn't work. Now let's talk about promissory notes. Back in 1933, during the Great Depression, Congress passed the Emergency Economic Bank and Relief Act. This law said that promissory notes delivered to the Federal Reserve become obligations of the Federal Reserve and are considered securities. So when you signed that mortgage note, you weren't just promising to pay, you were creating a security. And under the law, securities have special protections. That means the bank can't just swoop in and take your house without following the rules. Think of it like this. If your promissory note were a celebrity, it'd have bodyguards. And those bodyguards? They're called the FDCPA and the FCRA. Now let's get into the weeds a bit. Ever heard of over-collateralization? No? Well, it's when the value of your home, the collateral, is way higher than the loan amount. So, if your house is worth $300,000 and you owe $200,000, that extra $100,000 is over-collateralization. But here's where it gets spicy. Banks use fractional reserve banking, which means they only keep a fraction of your deposit on hand and lend out the rest. So when they loan you money, they're basically creating it out of thin air. And guess what? That promissory note you signed, it's now part of a giant financial game of hot potato. But here's the thing, you're not just holding the potato, you're the one who baked it. That means you have rights, and those rights can stop a foreclosure in its tracks. Now let's talk about the Constitution, that old piece of paper we all love but rarely read. The 5th and 7th Amendments guarantee you the right to due process and a trial by jury. But non-judicial foreclosures, they skip all that. No judge, no jury, no due process. It's like being sent to detention without even getting to plead your case. And let's be honest, detention was bad enough in high school. Imagine losing your house that way. Here's where the FDCPA and FCRA come in. The FDCPA says debt collectors have to validate the debt before they can collect on it. And the FCRA, it protects your credit report from being trashed by inaccurate information. So, if the bank can't prove the debt is valid, they can't foreclose. It's like showing up to a potluck empty-handed and still expecting to eat. Nope, not gonna happen. Now let's talk about specifically Article 9. This is the rule book for secured transactions like your mortgage. Under UCC Article 9, the bank has to follow strict rules to foreclose on your property. But here's the secret weapon: subpoenas. You can subpoena the bank for documents like the promissory note, proof of over-collateralization, and Federal Reserve operating circulars. If they can't produce these documents, the foreclosure falls apart. It's like playing poker and asking to see the other player's cards. If they're bluffing, you win. Now let's talk about legal presumptions. When the court says things like generally, usually, or typically. These are code words for, we're making this up as we go. It's like when your mom said, I'm not mad, just disappointed. You knew you were in trouble. Same thing here. If the court starts using these words, it's time to fight back. Alright folks, here's the bottom line. Non-judicial foreclosures are not the end of the road. You have rights, and you can fight back. Use the FDCPA, FCRA, and UCC Article 9 to your advantage. Subpoena those documents, challenge the debt, and demand your day in court. And remember, the law is like a game of chess. You don't have to be a grandmaster to win, you just need to know the rules. So, arm yourself with knowledge and don't let the banks push you around. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button. And if you've got questions, drop them in the comments below. Until next time, stay sharp, stay informed, and keep fighting the good fight.